that your client would like the court to truly address bond. Right now, it's set at $150,000 cash surety. He now has added a life offense, which would change this significantly in the court's mind.
Right away, the courtroom establishes the formal case. People of the state of Michigan versus Timothy Lacey. What might initially sound like routine courtroom procedure quickly turns into something far more serious. At the beginning of this hearing, the court is dealing with a bond issue that was previously set at $150,000 cash surety. But that discussion is about to shift dramatically. The key moment happens when the court reveals that a new charge has been added: armed robbery. In Michigan, armed robbery is one of the most serious felony charges a person can face. The statute allows punishment of life in prison or any term of years, which instantly raises the stakes for everyone in the room. For viewers, it's important to understand that this stage of the case isn't about deciding guilt. This is a preliminary examination hearing. Ours where the prosecution only needs to show probable cause, essentially convincing the judge that there's enough evidence for the case to move forward to trial. But what's fascinating here is how quickly the narrative begins to unfold. Within the first few minutes, we learn that this case involves gunfire, multiple suspects, and a potential attempted robbery that spiraled into violence. Surveillance footage, witness testimony, and firearm evidence are all about to come into play. And here's a question for you watching. If someone approaches another person while wearing a ski mask and carrying a gun, does that automatically prove robbery, or could there be another explanation for what happened that night? As Detective Quinn begins testifying, we're about to see how investigators piece together the events that led to this courtroom moment.
Another case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Timothy Lacey.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ashley Lundy-Feltus for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Ellman with and on behalf of Mr. Lacey. Mr. Lacey, can you please state your name for the record?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Timothy Lacey.
The first thing that we would need to do, this is date and time set for preliminary examination. First thing we'd have to do is, Mr. Lacey, there has been sworn out and added a count 3 of armed robbery. And the court would advise you that that is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. You understand that, sir?
Sir.
State your name, your department, and please tell me what you know about this.
Detective Jessica Quinn from the city of Ann Arbor. On 10/15/2023, at approximately 02:12 hours, officer responded to North University and South State Street on a shooting. Radio information was that there was 5 to 6 shots fired. And this information said that over the radio that the shooting had just occurred.
This is where the prosecution starts building the foundation of its case. Detective Quinn walks the court through the initial police response to a shooting, which is critical because it establishes the timeline of events. When officers respond to reports of 5 to 6 gunshots, the first priority is always scene stabilization, making sure no one is injured and securing evidence. But immediately after that, investigators begin reconstructing what happened. Notice how quickly they start gathering details: witness accounts, surveillance footage, and vehicle information. In modern investigations, surveillance cameras play an enormous role. Businesses, traffic cameras, and nearby buildings often capture key moments that witnesses might miss. Here, the detective explains that officers quickly identified a white pickup truck fleeing the scene. That detail becomes extremely important because vehicles are often easier to trace than individuals. Once police identify a license plate, they can connect it to a registered owner, giving investigators a direct lead. But even with that information, the central question still remains. Was this an attempted robbery that led to gunfire, or was this a confrontation between multiple armed individuals? That distinction is going to matter a lot as this testimony continues.
Upon arrival, officers finally met with witnesses that said someone was trying to steal something. Officer Downer also located video recording of a white pickup truck that fled the scene at a high rate of speed. On the video, she could see that the plate was Edward William 1356, and that came back to 2016 Dodge Ram 1500. The registered owner of that was Timothy LaShawn Lacey, who resides at 10675 Bryan Circle in Willis, Michigan. Officers did locate Mr. Campbell, who is just one second, sorry. Jane Campbell?
Yes.
He advised that they made contact with Campbell, and it was determined that he was involved in the shooting, that he had fired shots in the shooting, and that he was in possession of a firearm, and he was placed under arrest. Also, a BOL was put out to other officers in the area concerning that vehicle that had fled the scene, the white pickup truck. Deputy Early and Deputy Heath from Washoe Sheriff's Department located the suspect vehicle traveling eastbound on I-94 east of Willow Run, bypassed west of Rawsonville Road. Those deputies located Timothy Lacey driving and Tamarian Jones in the front passenger seat. They placed them under arrest, and they located a firearm under the front passenger seat where Jones was seated.
Now we're getting to a pivotal moment in the case. Officers locate the white pickup truck and pull it over, finding Timothy Lacey behind the wheel and Tamarian Jones in the passenger seat. Then comes the discovery that will become a major point of legal debate: a firearm located under the passenger seat. This raises a key legal concept known as constructive possession. Even if a weapon isn't physically in someone's hands, prosecutors can still argue that a person had knowledge of it and control over it, especially if they were involved in the events surrounding the crime. But notice the complexity here. The gun is found under the passenger seat, which could suggest that the passenger had more direct control over it. However, prosecutors may still argue that both individuals were involved in the alleged robbery attempt, which means both could be legally responsible. This is where the defense may try to create doubt. If Lacey was simply the driver, did he actually participate in the confrontation? Did he know what the passenger intended to do? And that leads to an important question for viewers. If you're driving a vehicle and someone in the passenger seat commits a crime, how much responsibility do you carry? That's exactly the kind of question juries often have to wrestle with.
Officer Polger and Officer Rourke met them at the scene. In the front passenger seat, they also located a receipt for the Bodega Brothers, which is a business that Shane Campbell was at, and all subjects at that involved in the incident were also at. Jones was wearing a black hoodie at the time of his arrest with a black ski mask on his head, which was described by Campbell. And Lacey was wearing a white t-shirt. I was called in as the on-call detective at 3 o'clock in the morning, and was advised that we had a shooting and that subjects were in custody and to come in to interview the subjects. When I interviewed Campbell, he said that he went to a food place, which was later determined was Bodega Brothers, and he noticed one guy with a ski mask on and one without inside of the restaurant. They began laughing at him and his friends when they walked in. His friends, one of his friends was named Elena Bender, and there was also a gentleman named Barry and Jay, he described. He and Elena had gone outside because she was arguing with her ex-girlfriend on the phone. Campbell went outside to get her. Elena was sitting beside the, like a planter that holds trees. Ken and Elena were walking back when they approached by two light-skinned black males wearing ski masks. One was wearing a white shirt and the other was wearing a black shirt. The one wearing a white shirt said, "Yo, I'm gonna need your gun." The one wearing a black shirt drew his gun, so Campbell drew his gun. Then the one in the black shirt shot his gun and Campbell shot his gun.
This moment is arguably the centerpiece of the prosecution's theory. According to the witness statement from Shane Campbell, two masked individuals approached him and demanded his firearm. If that statement is accurate, it fits the legal definition of armed robbery or attempted armed robbery, using a weapon or threat of force to take property from another person. But here's where the situation becomes extremely complicated. Campbell himself admits that he also had a gun and that he returned fire after being shot at. That turns this event into a chaotic armed confrontation between multiple people carrying firearms. Cases like this often become battles over credibility and sequence of events. Who fired first? Was the demand for the gun serious, or was it a heated exchange that escalated too quickly? Defense attorneys will often challenge witness recollections in situations like this because shootings unfold incredibly fast. Stress, fear, and adrenaline can dramatically affect what someone believes they saw or heard. So ask yourself this: if two armed groups confront each other and shots are fired, is that clearly a robbery attempt? Or could it be mutual escalation between armed individuals? That's a question a jury would eventually have to decide.
Campbell said he shot after he shot at me first. Campbell said he did not recognize either subjects from previous to that night, but they were the two that were inside the restaurant that had laughed at him and his friends. Campbell said that the male in the black shirt must have had a bullet already chambered because he shot at Campbell, and Campbell had to chamber a round before shooting. I then called Elena Bender on the 15th on the telephone, and she advised me that she described the incident saying that they were approached by two males with ski masks on, and they were trying to steal Campbell's gun. She thinks they shot first. She said that they were she said that when the shooting happened, she ran, and afterwards Campbell ran to get his car, and then they all went back to Bodega Brothers. We then obtained video from 830 North University School, the School of Kinesiology building from the University of Michigan Police Department. 39 minutes into the video, we observed what appeared to be Timothy Lacey by the vehicle that they exited out of, which was a white pickup truck, and the clothing description and the statute of the males. Timothy Lacey exited out of the driver's seat, and Tamara Jones exited out of the passenger seat of the white pickup parked in front of the bodega building. Lacey appeared to be ducking behind a vehicle, and Jones also appeared to be ducking behind the vehicle, behind the cement planters boxes on the sidewalk, in an attempt to sneak up behind somebody. The best way to describe it looked like they were almost hunting something when they were ducking behind these planters. Both Lacey and Jones darted out of view of the camera and then returned back into the view of the camera running. That would be around the time that the shooting occurred. They got inside the white pickup and fled the scene westbound. And today we are seeking to amend the charges of robbery unarmed for Lacey, weapons carrying concealed, and robbery armed.
I should have said, because this is People's State of Michigan versus Timothy LaShawn Lacey.
Yes.
And based upon that testimony, the court does find that there's probable cause to believe that the individual alleged in the complaint has committed the offenses, but also particularly the offense of armed robbery.
This is a major procedural moment in the hearing. After listening to the detective's testimony, the judge determines that probable cause exists to support the armed robbery charge. Remember, probable cause is a relatively low legal threshold compared to what's required for conviction. The judge isn't deciding guilt here, only whether the evidence presented so far is strong enough for the case to proceed to trial. By authorizing the armed robbery charge, the court is essentially saying that the prosecution has presented enough evidence to justify moving forward with one of the most serious accusations in Michigan's criminal code. This decision dramatically affects the case moving forward. Armed robbery not only carries potential life imprisonment, but it also strengthens the prosecution's negotiating position during plea discussions. And that leads to a critical strategic question. Will the defense fight this charge at trial, or will they consider negotiating a plea deal to reduce the risk of a life sentence? As the hearing continues, we're about to see how the prosecution and defense begin navigating exactly that possibility.
Based upon that information, and the court would authorize that charge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Elman asked Raymond on that charge.
Your Honor, we would waive any further reading and stand mute.
Defendant having waived formal reading, standing mute to that charge, court will enter a not guilty plea on his behalf at this charge.
Thank you, Your Honor. That was something that Mr. Ellman and I had discussed, so he did have notice that was coming today. It wasn't added without him having that information. So I just wanted the record to be clear on that. And Your Honor, there has been an offer extended to the defendant upon a waiver of preliminary examination on all three counts. The people would allow the defendant at the first pretrial to plead to counts 1 and 2, unarmed robbery and carrying a concealed weapon, with the benefit of hideout. But there are no other agreements as to sentence. And I believe that the guidelines I've calculated on the unarmed are in at least a 50-month range. I think it's 54 months at the bottom. So there's no agreements as to sentence. But if he should waive today, that offer will be available to him at the first pretrial. Mr. Ellman and I have also discussed the possibility that pretrial may need to be adjourned so he can have sufficient time to think about it. but we're not in the business of allowing it
Excuse
to.
me, one moment. You're gonna have to back up one row, folks. Just back up one row.
Yes,
Thank you.
that is the sum and substance of our agreement.
And Your Honor, we've discussed that, and based on that offer, we are going to be waiving today. I have an executed waiver form if I could approach. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
I should also say for the record that at this time, the people are going to be filing a penalty in the case of Mr. Shane Douglas Campbell. At this time, the people do believe that Mr. Campbell was a victim in this case, and we do intend to treat him as a victim. If that is reduced to and formalized into a cooperation agreement, we will provide that to defense counsel. I do have an immunity agreement. I'd like to report an order for immunity for Mr. Campbell. Should he have testified today, does contemplate testifying at trial as well, that I'd like the court to consider and sign, with the idea knowing that Mr. Campbell, in this instance, was also charged originally with carrying a concealed weapon and possession of firearms by a prohibited person. The people do intend to dismiss that case today against Mr. Campbell.
And
Defense counsel has gotten a copy of the agreement.
That's correct, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
and you reviewed it.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are.
Brandon Bird, attorney for the Shane County.
All right, very good.
Mr. Bird has also assured me that even if the case is dismissed because Mr. Bird is appointed, normally his representation would end at that time. He has assured me he will continue to advise Mr. Campbell about his Fifth Amendment rights and appear at any trial as necessary.
That's correct.
Is what the. All right, and I have signed the immunity order
Thank you, Your Honor.
for Mr. Campbell after reviewing the application in the case. All right. Mr. Lacey,
Sir.
you're intending upon waiving your right to have a preliminary examination.
Yes, sir.
This is a critical procedural decision. By waiving the preliminary examination, the defense is choosing not to force the prosecution to present additional evidence at this stage. Normally, a preliminary examination allows the defense to cross-examine witnesses and challenge the strength of the prosecution's case early on. It can sometimes reveal weaknesses in testimony or inconsistencies that could later help the defense. But waiving it can also be a strategic move. It allows the case to move directly to circuit court, where more formal proceedings, including trial preparation and plea negotiations, take place. Sometimes attorneys waive this step to avoid revealing too much of their defense strategy early. Other times, it's simply because the prosecution's evidence appears strong enough that the hearing would not change the outcome. For viewers watching this unfold, the question becomes, is this waiver a sign that the defense is preparing for negotiation, or that they want to fight the case later at trial under different circumstances? The answer will likely become clearer as the case progresses.
Okay. You understand that a preliminary examination is a proceeding where the people would have to show by probable cause that the offenses alleged were committed and that you committed.
Yes, sir.
You understand you'll not now have that hearing and you'll proceed to circuit court for further resolution.
Yes, sir.
All right. People also waive their right.
We do, Your Honor.
Preliminary examination having been waived, defendants bound over to circuit court on all three counts. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would waive any formal reading and stand mute.
And then having waived formal reading, standing mute to all three charges, court will enter a not guilty plea as to those charges. Pre-trial in this matter will be set for
January 7th at 1:30 with Judge Conlon.
January 7th, 2026, 1:30 before Judge Conlon.
Your Honor, we had this as a Judge Hamoud case.
You have it as a Hamoud. I also do have it as a Hamoud.
I mean, maybe due to the co-defendants.
I have his case. I have Conlon. So Jones has Conlon and Mr. Lacey has Hamoud. And let me ask this. Your client, Mr. Elman, doesn't have any other criminal charge. Has he had any criminal charges in Washington County?
When was that? That was here, right?
Juvenile. Yeah.
As of many years ago, Your Honor. I don't believe he has
that's
pending.
fine. Were they felonies handled in circuit court?
I believe juvenile court, maybe, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, gotcha. When?
So for Mr. Lacy, I have the years 2018 and 2019 to sign judge.
That would be, those are correct, Your Honor.
And
All right.
Mr. Jones's prior case, that it's a more recent case, so they should go to judge.
They should go to trial. Okay.
That was what I was thinking.
That's what I was wondering. That's why I was asking, sir. I was trying to figure out, because you get a judge for life and then the co-defendant would follow along. So I was trying to figure out when any incident you had happened and when the co-defendant happened. All right. So Hamoud, date.
January 3rd.
This matter would be set January 5th, 2026, 1:30 before Judge Hamoud.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
my client would like me to briefly address bond. I know I've addressed bond previously in these matters.
Can I mean, I'll let you certainly address bond, but I think the thing, and whether or not your client would like the court to truly address bond, right now it's set at 150,000 cash surety. He now has added a life offense, which would change this significantly in the court's mind.
And I would request a no bond if bond is addressed.
And we're not going to address bond. Thank you.
Bond will continue. Thank you.
May I interrupt to signing information?
Yes.
Should have one. I think
I should have the new one. And
I'm pretty sure I did.
To the speaker,
yes, sir.
for that Nolo.
Have I ever been able to stop you? But no, I appreciate you asking permission, but go ahead.
For that Nolo
Yes.
price, are we going to call Mr. Campbell's case today?
He's here.
Yes.
I was just planning to file the paperwork, Your Honor, but whatever please support.
What's your preference, sir? Would you like me to?
What's easier for Ms. Lundy?
It doesn't matter. I can just file the paperwork.
I mean, Ms.
Well,
Filter, sorry.
Mr. Campbell's here.
Yes.
So why don't we do it this way? We're still waiting for Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
And so why don't I just have that case brought down and we'll just take care of it on the record.
But he's not relieved of his subpoena obligation.
Correct.
Okay.
He would need
Right.
to understand that.
Oh, no, we had a discussion.
About that.
Yeah.
Okay. And any dismissal anyway today would be without prejudice, so that if he doesn't fulfill those obligations, this case is going to come back up.
Correct.
But if you want me to call, I'll just get the file done and call it today. And clarify it.
Have a good day, Your Honor.
You do the same, Stroman.
With that final ruling, the judge decides that bond will remain unchanged, leaving Timothy Lacy held under the existing conditions while the case moves forward. At this point in the hearing, several major developments have already occurred. The court has authorized the armed robbery charge, which carries the possibility of life imprisonment. The prosecution has outlined evidence including surveillance footage, witness testimony, and firearm recovery linking the suspects to the confrontation. We also learned that the prosecution extended a plea offer that could reduce the charges to unarmed robbery and carrying a concealed weapon, though no sentencing guarantees were offered. Meanwhile, a key figure in the case, Shane Campbell, has been recognized by prosecutors as a victim rather than a suspect, and an immunity agreement was put in place to secure his testimony if the case proceeds to trial. Now the case moves to circuit court, where pre-trial hearings, negotiations, and possibly a trial will determine what ultimately happens. And this case leaves us with a powerful question. Was this truly a planned armed robbery, or a confrontation between armed individuals that spiraled into violence? If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.